And pledge allegiance, Bob.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Man, attendance. Everyone is here on the board except Mr. Taylor. So I'll make a little statement. So Mr. Taylor can participate by Zoom, but can have no public comment. So if anyone's on the owl right now.
That was Al, he just got on.
Okay, Al, I know you can hear this.
Make sure he's on.
Make sure you're on there.
He's joining.
Can you hear me?
Not yet. He's still joining.
Al? Mr. Johnson's here.
Hello, Mr. Johnson.
He said it's still joining.
Well, we'll do this. You tell me when he's on. Regular board meeting minutes of Wednesday, December 13th. Does anybody have corrections, changes, additions, errors, motions?
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes.
As presented, Bob?
Yes, presented.
Is there a second?
I will.
Second by Shelley. Discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's carried. Okay. Al on there yet?
So it says he's joining. I don't know. Al, can you hear us? We're probably gonna have to redo it.
Well, I'll repeat that when he comes on. Anyways, Mr. Taylor's not here, cannot participate, can listen by Zoom, but cannot have any comment, even under public comment, according to the state of Michigan's rules. So, amend the agenda. Anybody?
I did not hear anything back from Attorney Greer on the ORV ordinance, so I did not add it to the packet. So
Okay.
do we want to just put it?
Put it on for next, let's just
Okay.
put it off till next month.
I'd like to add the budget calendar just for.
Yeah, that's great, okay. Budget calendar. And I'd also like to add boundary adjustment application under, this can be under zoning. It's gonna take the place of a land division form where you're just doing a property line adjustment. It's just a better form too, it spells it out. Jody sent it to me, I asked her about it last week, and I think the city maybe, somebody had one, and she went and copied it, so I gave everyone a copy. I'll put it in the zoning.
Why don't we do it after assessor?
Okay, we can do it after assessor.
We'll just put zoning after assessor.
Zoning. Okay, anybody else? Robert? Oh, you got nothing to say. I'm shocked. Okay. Public comment. Libby?
Well, as you know, I was trying to zoom in and I did not find the link. My apologies. It's been on the agenda in the past. I also tried to find the December 13th meeting on the public access. I probably didn't locate that either because I couldn't find it. Ed, do you know if it was?
I wasn't here. I think there was a malfunction and it didn't get recorded.
Okay, well, that at least makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, there was. That David and I were in charge of recording that meeting and we hit the record button, but apparently it didn't record.
Okay, that is so I
Yeah.
That's on us. Even though we hit the button, I can't tell you why.
I messed up somehow.
It said recording.
Doesn't anyway. When the packet, that's how I went to find the Zoom meeting. It was not listed on the agenda. I understand. I will do the homepage now, but it did not include the December 13th 4 draft meetings, which are here.
Yes.
And it didn't include Jody and Katie's,
yes.
which is here.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the rule on when the packet is the packet? I mean, how often did you add that to the packet? Because I checked this morning. And
right, no, once I put out the packet, I try and keep it as a packet. Anything that comes in afterwards gets put on the table because I don't want to keep putting revisions out, okay? So however, I was having Adobe issues with my computer this week. And so I just got it fixed yesterday morning. Yesterday morning or Monday morning, I can't remember. Was it yesterday morning? So there was a lot of items. When I do the packet, I have to convert everything over to Adobe. My computer kept locking up. And so there was items that couldn't get converted to Adobe. So the packet was a hot mess.
But we need to also stress those guys, did they get that to you on time? They were late in getting their reports in, were they not? The zoning report, did it come in on time? Or did it come in? It came in after everything else, correct?
No, the zoning report was on the Google Drive. However, the Glenn Ziering's report is not on the Google Drive up to date.
Okay.
So his last report was December 3rd.
Okay, we just need to make a better effort, Libby. I got it.
So it doesn't matter. That report wouldn't have.
What I would like to suggest, if I could, and I've got more suggestions, surprise, surprise, that if amendments come in or additions, could you just put up those additions? Because had I zoomed in, I wouldn't have these paper copies. So I don't have a packet. And I think that
I could put like, I could put revisions or additions.
Yeah, so don't add to the
I could.
Additions.
Yeah,
and
instead of the whole packet
Don't put the
revision.
whole
Yeah, I could do that.
It can fall on me to go and check.
Yeah.
Or other
Yep.
members of the public.
If you don't mind double checking that.
I double check everything anyway.
Yep, I can do that.
That would be very helpful. Anyway, the other thing is it took me 5 clicks to find the December draft meetings. So that's the other reason I would have liked to have seen them. Anyway, in addition to the suggestions I made in my 527 email, I request, again, the website include time and date stamps of all postings, email addresses for elected township officials, boards, and commission members. Interesting to note, township officials' email addresses aren't on the website that I can find, but were listed in the PLA January's newsletter. Dates in terms of commission and board members, policies and procedures for appointing and for renewing committee and commission members and officers, including who has the authority to appoint and reappoint members and officers. I'd like to see in the budget for 24-25 a web administrator hired who is responsible for, and I quote from the Township Summer 2023 newsletter, a website dedicated to township business. The site provides comprehensive information about the township, including announcements, agendas, minutes, ordinance, contact information, and much more. I don't feel it does that accurately or adequately. Zoom and record township board, committee, and commission meetings. If the Zoom meetings and postings are too cumbersome for those committees and commissions, for everybody, just do the township board meetings, and those committees and commissions who receive payment for their attendance should be available. The duties could be the responsibility of the web administrator. The board is not required by the Open Meetings Act of 1976 to Zoom or record meetings. My question is why, when the technology is available and the equipment purchased, would the board decide not to do so? To fail to enact such procedures is a missed opportunity for transparency, civic engagement, and a misuse of taxpayers' funds.
Thank you. We are Zoom meeting though. I don't. Is that what you're
Only hours. We're not doing.
Oh, okay. No,
And
thank
so,
you.
you did do the special.
We did the
hearing
public
and
hearing.
Public hearing and then, and the planning commission meeting that followed. So you've done planning.
The planning commission public hearing
the whole-
day.
The
Yeah,
whole meeting was,
yeah.
was Zoomed.
Okay, any other public comment? Clerk's report.
Okay, any questions on the reports?
I don't have any. Board?
Okay. And a reminder, for the calendar that Ed just talked about, the budget items. If you could get those suggestions to me by January 31st, please.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the budget calendar now then, or you want me to put it in a separate item?
Oh, no, we can do it right now. It's fine.
So. So today, the budget calendar says discuss budget priorities, so are we gonna do that today then, after the regular meeting?
We can do it, just add it on put it on after.
That's the reason I wanted that calendar on here, so we can talk through that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. We'll get to a normal business and that'll be great. Okay,
That's it.
that's it. Okay, you done?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Ed, treasurer's report.
It was in the packet,
Yeah. Questions from anybody? Anyone out here? Nobody? Anything else? Moving on then. You okay? We can go? Oh, yeah, I'm just saying, Jeffrey, you're up.
Well, this is quick,
Yes, it is.
and I don't have a lot to report on.
Okay, next, Janice.
Airport Authority, unanimous votes for both Cindy Kaminsky and Adam Dotz, be reappointed, both of them. Library Board, Mr. Mortensen was reappointed. Land Bank, Gary Buren and Mitch Deach. And Park and Rec Commission, Mr. Williams, Medical Examiner, Ms. Goslinowski, who has been a medical examiner as well. We authorize the medical care to go forward with their program. There will be no allocation till the next, I believe I'm going to be correct when I tell you it'll be in the 20 tax rolls next year, I think.
And that would be to do the.
For the renovation.
Okay, we got asked that today by one taxpayer here, right?
Their
Yes.
target number is 72 beds, correct?
So 72 beds, starting date is gonna be tentatively,
Well, spring
oh,
this year,
oh, really? Okay.
To start construction?
start renovation. Whatever that consists of, because there's some new and a lot of redo.
Okay.
Spring of 20.
Yeah, that's what the question was today was, remember that millage I voted on for the,
Yeah. Well, we
When
didn't
does
have
that
the reason
start?
allocated as of yet.
okay.
So 72 beds, Jeff, and how many do they have now? Do we know?
I can tell you census, Ed, has been in the mid to upper 40s.
Okay.
I can't tell
And
you.
these will be-
The problem you get into is you have staffing levels that you have to have to support the amount of residents you have as well.
But we're getting rid of the shared rooms and they're all gonna be
Not entirely,
not entirely.
not entirely. There's still gonna be some shared rooms, but there'd be far less than what they currently is.
Mhm.
We are going to be getting into, we heard from Networks Northwest for material management plans. Carla can elaborate on that much more articulate than I can, since I saw Carla come in. But as discussed before, we will be doing some regional aspect of that with it's being mandated. Lansing. So we'll see where that goes and how it goes to be continued. And it's 180 days, has that started ticking?
Yep, the day you got the letter.
Okay, so we're on the clock to have something in place within 6 months.
And you are going to? Okay.
We are. Charter Spectrum came before us, give us an update. We gave a letter supporting them to help do the eastern side of the county. As I understand it, I don't know the acronym for it, but CalTel had a whole bunch over there on the east side. And it's been underperforming enormously. They have, I want to tell you the number, the year could be 27 or 28 to get it updated to where it's 100 gigs down and 20 gig up. And That's just crazy, to take that long. Yeah, there again, you know, you're not gonna get everybody, but you're gonna get some trunk lines and it can cascade off of that. So CalTel is getting more of what they already have. They have an opportunity to hold on to what they've got, as opposed to Spectrum going in and putting some good lines though.
You know where I live on 22?
Well,
Kind of.
22 is a stretch.
But north of Portage Point Drive between there and Maidens, okay? We don't have them.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know what the distance that they, well, there again, you're a long ways off the road.
On any house. It's not there. I'm just saying, yet I go over here Bear Lake and there's two Amish cow farms on a 1.5 mile road and they're putting internet in. I mean, it's just stupid how the government figured this
I
out.
talked to Ralph Bruce over here. He's down on 22. I saw him Sunday morning. He was telling me the same thing where he's, you know, they didn't come down the distance for him and his neighbors to get it, you know. It's not a cure-all by any stretch. We've allocated $15,000 of ARPA funds to assist with Park and Rec Commission. Organizational meeting, we had that on the 2nd. No changes there to speak of note. Airport, some interesting numbers. This past year was the second best we've had by quite a while. The big year was just shy of 20,000 back when Frontier was here for that 10-month window. And we were around 12,000. I have to look on my phone to give you an exact number. But and the reliability has gone up significantly. In December, was 1% canceled. 14% were delayed and the rest were on time. So
This past
December. And it was one of the best Decembers we've had as well.
No bad weather.
One thing of note from EDC that I can share is West Shore College is going to be doing a CDL class for training for truck driving.
They are doing a CDL class? How much they're charging?
I don't know what the cost on that is.
Who would Mr. McCool get a hold of to get more information on that?
I don't know who's it.
Is it West Shore?
Yeah, I just called the college.
Okay, and when are they gonna do that? Don't know, sometime soon?
Soon.
Good.
The one issue they were having was trying to find a place to do skid training. I can tell you many moons ago, Shell, we had skid training up, but it was in pickups, not semis, a little bit. But we did it up at Traverse City at the airport.
Skid training such as locking the brakes stuff?
Skid is skid. I don't know if they're talking ice skid. Ours was ice skid training. Or if they're talking just wet pavement or both. I don't know. I imagine if you're gonna get certified, it probably is a little bit of both. But that's an estimate, you know, assumption on my part. That's probably about it. All I've got at the moment.
Okay, question, grant writer for, the county has a grant writer on staff? Or no, they're right
Under contract.
Okay, so can my Parks and Rec, and I think I maybe know the answer, can my Parks and Rec hire that, is he exclusive or he or she exclusive?
He is not exclusive. If you want to contact him, I can give you his contact and they can contact him and see if he's got the availability to work for you.
Okay.
He's done stuff for Bear Lake, I know that.
Could you share that with me?
What grant does Parks and Rec want to apply for?
I don't know. Vic asked me if they could put some money. He's gonna ask for it in his budget about a grant writer. I'm just wondering if he does do that and we okay it, where do we go to seek that and what are the, you know?
So I think the county is an option if it requires engineering, the engineering firms often will write the grants as well. And it's all in one spot. It just depends on what the grant is.
I'll forward you Bill's contact. So you
Okay, we might as well start there and then, is Al on there?
He is, yep.
Mr. Taylor, if you can hear me. Anyways, Al, you can participate. Here's the deal. You can participate in the meeting by listening. You cannot comment at all, and you can't even comment under public comment, according to the state guidelines. So I just thought I'd put that out there if anyone else is listening and wants to know. So the only one that can participate would be if you are military. military, basically. And that's it. Sorry, Al.
Anything else? Any questions? No, easy day up here. Carly, you need me to stick around?
Well, you can stick for a minute. We'll get right to it. Policy on cameras and videotaping, new business.
Do we need one?
A policy?
Yeah.
You know, you were talking about the public comes in here and wants to videotape. I don't know if you can't stop it, but can we have a designated area? Like,
Well, I know during elections, I have to just have that marked as public.
okay,
I don't know.
You're talking about the general public coming in and video.
yeah, just want to videotape.
They're allowed to do it.
Right, but
If
do
they're
we,
being
Right.
disruptive, you can tell them to stop being disruptive. You don't need a policy for that.
okay,
It's just common sense.
Well, you would think.
Can you hear me?
That's Al.
yeah.
Al, you're not allowed to talk according to the MTA, so I'm gonna have to mute you.
Well, before you mute me, why don't you listen to what I have to say? You know what's
I
going on?
can't, Al, I can't, Al, I can't. You're not allowed. I'm sorry, you can't. You can call me later, but I can't have you discuss it in our meeting. Did you mute him? I have to. I'm sorry, Al, we have to. That's just a rule. Okay, so we don't need a policy.
Okay,
That's
sounds good.
fine. But if someone comes in, it'd be
Um,
nice if I could say, I would like to say, I don't care where you videotape from, but just so you're not disruptive.
Yeah.
Right.
You
It
can
doesn't
say
matter.
that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have to have one for elections. I'm just saying, as long as I'm updating the policy book.
right, okay, that's fine with me. Unfinished business, the property over here by the fairgrounds, just waiting for that to clear probate. Mr. Seymour's partner, who would have been, Pienta on the property, when he passed away, that's just been hanging out there and nobody had done anything to clear title. So they have opened up probate and it'll be when it's gonna be, whatever that is. Can't tell you when it's gonna be. Mike DeVoe talked to Tom today. That was supposed to go to court on January 5th. It got put off because he didn't have an attorney. Anyways, it is scheduled now for January 30th, Tuesday. And I got a call on that today. And I have not been by there. I'll go out there. Someone said there was more stuff there than was there last week. True?
Yes, two
Okay,
huge big boats that
okay.
were put in probably 2 weeks ago.
And I
And
believe,
blocked Portage Point Road. There's no way anyone could have gotten down them while they were backing them in.
and it is being carried over to his rental property now as well.
Okay. Okay, so I'll take pictures of that and send it to Tom tomorrow, so we'll get that into our, court.
Andy has a video of them moving the boat into.
Yeah, I know, that part you can, I don't know if you can stop some, because that's happened with moving others. Oh, you're not supposed to block, but
Can't, I don't think you can, anyway,
well, I know, but that
However
would
you
be
do.
fine, actually. You can
Never
share, tell
mind.
them to no.
no, never mind.
No,
It's
that's a
fine. I'll
great
keep my
idea.
mouth shut.
Well,
Nope.
here, I'll talk to them, because they should share that with the court. Maybe that's not a bad idea, too.
Yeah, but anyone that backs a boat in is gonna block traffic for a little while.
For a short time,
Well,
but not all day.
You're not defending him.
No, I'm not
this
either.
is-
Oh, did it go? It hasn't gone to court yet?
No, so what happened was we filed all this stuff and then he never retained an attorney.
So trying to get a default judgment?
No, because the day before, he retained his attorney and the attorney asked for time because he didn't even look at anything. And Tom said the right thing to do is to actually give him this, but that's it. So I said, okay. The wheels of justice move backwards, I think, to me personally, but that's the update on those two things. Fire, Rob, you're up. I know you gave a report. You want to add anything?
I don't really have a lot to add.
Why don't we talk about the ordinance thing a little bit, because we talked about it briefly, we're gonna put it on next month's agenda, so.
Okay.
If anyone on the board did not understand why we would pursue that, that's why I wanted Rob to bring it up. For recovering costs for, go ahead, Rob, you can.
Yeah, just as a cost recovery for services that we do. Right now, we don't currently, go back to the insurance companies at all, other than for car accidents that we actually extricate with, the God life. So with the added cost of our equipment, our supplies that we have to replenish our trucks with, the increase in just operating expenses, in short order, you know, you start running the other
Well,
way.
use that accident as an example, the one that happened that you have to.
So for an example, we had an accident over here around the corner. That was an extended accident because it took out one of the main power poles for the whole area. Consumers had 4 trucks here. We had 3 trucks. We had the road blocked off for almost 5 hours. Consumers blew hydraulic lines, so now it became a, kind of a hazmat cleanup with oil contamination. And so we spent, a lot of our supplies, almost all of our supplies containing that. And removal of the vehicle and the protection around the community because it was,
Close to it, correct?
school was starting, we had to reroute buses and all that good stuff. Anyway, so that accident right there, if we would have had that ordinance in place, we probably could have billed around $7,000 for everything that we did. Instead, we billed 0, and we just absorbed all that cost of the fire department.
Because it was a car accident, because of, who would you bill?
The insurance company.
Which insurance company?
There, the car insurance, you carry that.
I know all about the insurance,
Wow.
car insurance, okay.
So we would only bill the insurance company,
Cost,
right? We would bill
is that just for car accidents, not for fire?
everything, any operation that we do.
So
there's a
fire
structure on pay.
Right,
If
okay.
you- They have, you know, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3
Yeah.
for car accidents, structure fires, individual vehicles,
Not medical.
not medical.
Not
medical. Medical.
Nothing to do with it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna build
Fire.
anything for medical.
Okay.
But just, so we go and reorder these supplies that we put back on our truck, those invoices are just
It's climbing.
climbing, and eventually we're gonna have to,
Raise
everybody's
millage.
gonna have to go to this in order to keep a fire department funded, because you're not gonna be able to go to the taxpayers and keep asking for more money. Right? You can't keep raising the millages to offset all this stuff. Where we were at 10 years ago on expenses to where we're at today is no fault of ours.
And in this case, the driver took off. They didn't even know who the driver was.
Driver took off, so, yeah. But anyway, so that's an example. You know, we had one up here on 31 8 Mile here not too long ago that had oil and antifreeze and everything involved in it. So we had, you know, more floor dry, more oil blooms. Just nature of the beast, but
Okay.
it's silly for us not to start reclaiming some of that stuff when even us as taxpayers are paying our insurances on time and they're not dishing that money back out to anything, so.
Will my insurance go up?
Your insurance will certainly go up if you're in an accident.
If it's your
Unless you've
fault,
got Progressive and they give you 1 free one.
No, but I meant,
if you're at fault at the accident, I can't say what your insurance is gonna do.
what I'm saying, having just done an automobile accident.
Will your insurance go up? Absolutely. Every year.
Every year mine goes up.
Well, okay.
It's not, you
What I
can't
wanna
tie.
know is, am I going to pay twice?
No.
I pay for a millage, I pay for my insurance, and then.
But your
my
insurance is
pays
gonna pay.
you. I know,
Right,
But-
you're not, yeah, your insurance company's not gonna come to you and say, you need to give us more money because we paid the fire department.
They're gonna go to everybody and say, you need to pay us more money because insurance.
exactly, so
Well,
my
that,
insurance will go up. That's all I'm
yeah.
asking.
but that's
I'm
back to
just
life.
asking.
If anyone look at,
Rob, do you have like a sample cost recovery ordinance from MTA or something that you're gonna model it on?
Yep.
Yeah.
I submitted that last month.
Okay.
It gives the tiers and the payments.
Okay.
And
I think
so you
that's
have
what
an idea.
Empire or somebody uses. Plus Coltmish already does this.
So are we putting that on for the next meeting then, as an action item?
Yep, I can do
I
that.
didn't, I didn't put it on today because you weren't here. didn't
Yeah,
say
and I
it wasn't
have
set.
some.
No, we gotta get it out there.
Yeah.
But I wanted him to get a little report again since you weren't here instead of
Okay.
just reading
It
it.
was in
So
last
the-
packet.
It was submitted, it was all the legal
Well,
terminology, mumbo jumbo, and,
Has Tom reviewed it?
I don't know.
No, he has not.
So that's that, and then,
Okay,
just
send it
a
off
quick
to him.
truck.
Oh, update on the truck.
Truck up. So, the outfitter down in Muskegon, Spring Lake area is waiting for our rollout cage and the drug lockbox to come in. Cause we have to keep our drug locked inside the vehicle.
Okay.
Just having them in your compartment loose is not.
Oh, we're talking about the rescue right now. Okay, make sure we
So,
say.
yeah, rescue. So we're waiting for those 2 items to come in. Once they get there, then he'll turn a guy loose for a full week to outfit the truck. He's thinking probably the end of January this month, maybe February, depending on those 2 pieces. Everything else is there. They're just waiting to.
Okay, and so everyone knows that's gonna replace the Ford Exploder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Explorer, whatever, Exploder.
Yeah. So that'll, yeah, so the existing medical truck will go away. This one will take its place, which is a little bit bigger vehicle. We'll be able to store our equipment a little more efficiently in there.
Right. We contacted the people, anyone who was still interested from before, or are we just gonna start the whole process over to sell it?
I'm just gonna start it. I'm gonna reach out to that organization that wanted to buy it originally. And the price that they wanted to give us is the price that we're gonna ask originally, so I don't know what will happen.
Okay,
But and then the engine, that's still a long shot to get by the end of 2024. My thought would be probably more 2025 first quarter by the time that gets here.
sure.
So we haven't even gone down to any build meetings or anything, so.
Okay.
It's obviously in their system to be built, they just haven't started it yet, so. And we knew that going forward, that's why we jumped the gun on that just a little bit early to get it rolling, because we knew it was a 2-year build. I think it was 1 year, something like that, so. But other than that, fire department's doing well. We've had some high profile incidents that we did a nice job according to the community and some other professional agencies that were with us, but we performed very well. So hats off to the guys and gals in the fire department.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
The assessor report, we're working on final figures. I don't have a figure as to how many $1 million we have to raise, but it's a lot. It's still gonna be a 5% taxable value increase. And other than that, things are looking good.
Yeah, the poverty resolution.
Poverty resolution for 2024.
It's in the packet.
So Dave, I have one question on that. It's standard, but isn't in order to get a poverty resolution or poverty exemption, don't you have to include all of the incomes of everybody who's living in the household?
You have to, if they're living in the household, their incomes have to be included.
So how do you guys verify that? Who's living there?
Well, you have to take them at their
honor system.
Okay. Unless you know differently.
I'm just asking the question.
Okay. Do you have something else to add?
That's it.
Okay. I guess that's what we do. I mean, unless somebody comes in and says, as an example, hey, my neighbor applied for poverty because it's all public record. You applied for it. It's on the minutes. You know, X and X and X is living there. That has happened once to me in 35 years. And then you write a letter and say, this has been brought to our attention. Can you respond to that?
Okay.
And the assessor would take it.
But the application is a sworn statement.
Sworn statement, you swear to God against it or for it, I guess.
Well, right. So if it's found out after the fact,
It's fraud.
Sworn statement.
It's fraud.
So how many poverty exemptions roughly do we have per year here in the township? Just a couple, right? 2 or 3?
3 maybe?
3.
Frequent flyers.
3. But we're very low on poverty exemptions here compared to some other communities. So asset tests and that, you know, it's hard. Essentially, it is hard to get it because you can't have assets on very limited assets and not much money, and it goes through the whole asset test. So she print that off. Yeah. Thank you. I thought it was here too, but I don't have it in my file.
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet.
Yeah, I don't need a packet here. I have it online, but where is it?
You would have had your computer.
I'm giving my computer to Mr. Wallace.
Excuse me?
You're gonna have my computer. Not today, we're gonna give you my computer. So you have a laptop, so you can, if we decide we're gonna do this, and you can howl your meetings. We'd be impressed with that, but anyways. Right there it is. The state is cracking down on poverties. They are like, you fill the thing out, you can't leave blanks. If it's not filled out correctly, you send it back to the person and say, you fill this out correctly, and you can't leave out stuff. And I would think at your point, that's gonna come up about the income. If somebody says something, you're gonna reaffirm that with the person that you're swearing to God against this. Thank you. Hold on a second. Thank you. So if it's basically, I think the same size of the guidelines have changed a little bit. The high points are this. We'll read down there. File a claim with the board review. An application should be granted by the board review. The board review cannot deviate from the state guidelines. They should be granted exemption of 100. If you're claiming an exemption and you're over the income guidelines between 1% and 5%, you qualify for 100. If you're over the income guidelines between 6 to 10%, you qualify for 75%. If you're over the income guideline between 10 and 11 and 15, you qualify for 50% exemption. And if you're over the income guideline by 16 to 20%, you qualify for 25% exemption. The guideline dollar values are this: 5, size of family, 1 person, 14,580, 2 people, 19,720, 3 people, 24,860, 4, 30,000, 5, 35,140, 6, 4280, 7, 45,420, 8, 55,60 for each individual person. Over and above that, $5,140 more. We can act on this today.
Yes.
I'd appreciate it.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the poverty resolution as presented.
I'll second that.
Second by Bob. And we have a roll call vote. So Bob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Shelley?
Yes.
David? Yes. Absent Al. Supervisor declares the resolution adopted this day, the 9th of, I'm
The
sorry,
10th.
the 10th of January, isn't it? 10th of January, 2024. And for assessor for Molly, we also see the certificate of achievement from the state of Michigan State Tax Commission. Acknowledges that Onekama Township, Manistee County on the 19th of December 2023 has been recognized for the outstanding achievement of receiving a perfect score on the 2023 PA 660 assessment audit review. We wish to congratulate you and thank you for continuing efforts to provide fair and equitable assessing in the state of Michigan. Very cool.
How about, you skipped over March board review, first meeting.
Oh, yeah, alternate March for review.
Yeah, sorry about that. Read it or no? It's up there.
I'll make a motion that we pass the resolution to set an alternate date for the 2024 March board of review, first public meeting.
Support.
I don't think we just need to vote for it. I think we need a roll call vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. We have those dates on the calendar yet for the board reviews?
Not on the website calendar.
Okay, I'll give them to you today. We have.
You already did.
I did the other day, didn't I?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm sure we'll be a little busy again. Why don't we go to recycle, because Jeff's just sitting here waiting.
The county commissioners received their part 115 letter. That's the letters we've been waiting for the last 6 to 8 months to come through. So that starts the time clock on the part 115 new recycling program. What that means to the county and to the townships and villages in Manatee County is, at this point, we'll now start to, and I hate this word, collaborate with other counties to put the program together. The state is funding this program for up to 10 years. So the first 6 months is getting together and getting contracts with other counties to work with them in writing the programs. Network Northwest, more than likely, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm guessing that Networks Northwest will be helping our group to write this program to move forward. Everything is kind of based on 6-month increments. So we got the letter, we'll get the contracts, the county commissioners hopefully will sign it, and then that will move on, and the next portion will start to write the actual program for our county. So there's a lot of steps over the next 3 years before this will actually, you'll really start to see some things happening.
What public act is that, PA1?
115.
And how does that gonna change recycling as we know it then?
I think it's you know, I've read this is it's about 4.5 inches thick. That's what I do when I can't sleep at night.
I watch TV, but
it's like
so, but I mean, what does it change?
It's gonna make it more accessible for people to recycle. Right now, I believe Michigan recycles 7% or 17% of recycling. All of the states around us, and like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, most of them are in the 20 to 30% range. The state wants to be at 30% by 2030.
Okay.
Caveat to that is they do not count recycled bottles for beverages.
So what do they count?
Standard recycling, so your glass and stuff that you have the bins here, that's what they count. They don't count returns.
Oh, no, returnable bottles.
Do they in the other states? That's the $10,000 question, right?
Not all states have.
You know, Carla, we were talking about this at the city. Aren't they gonna be potentially mandating curbside for urban areas?
First, it's based on what the how many people live in that area, and I believe it's around 10,000.
Okay.
There has to be 10,000 people in a certain geological, a certain area.
Maybe
So,
around Manistee Lake.
So are they paying anything to the county, like to?
The one reason we are going to be doing it on a regional aspect is because we received an extra 50 cents per person.
So the county will give $60,000 a year, 50 cents per person in your county, and for each county that you collaborate with, you get an additional $10,000.
Okay, what are they gonna do with that money?
That's what's gonna fund the additional programming.
And what
is additional programming?
We don't know as of yet. We have 6 months to get the plan together to submit.
I understand it, but you must know some.
So this is in addition to what we already have.
Yes.
We have 6 months to find who we're gonna collaborate with to build this program.
Okay, so who would we collaborate with here?
I mean, there's a number of possibilities. There could be like Benzie County, Mason County,
Is that, when you say collaborate, is that so you can bid it out to a carrier more competitively?
So
to share a site on the county line, what is that?
We're in uncharted territory.
Uncharted, right.
And this initial grouping, when counties get together to put this program together. It's so we can pull in the experts that, you know, we need to write this program. It's kind of like, I don't know if you remember back when PA 69 went into effect, Networks Northwest helped Manistee County with putting that program together. It's kind of the same thing. You know, it's like, we're looking at going together with a group, pooling our money that we would get from the state, and having an outside entity write the program. With that, there'll be people from our communities on the board that works with them. Once that program is done, which there's a specific amount of time, which is 180 days, then that will come back and go to the county, the townships for approvals. Then there's, you know, getting it moving forward and starting the programs. And that from what they are saying, the state will be funding up to 10 years as long as we are making forward progress in expanding our programs.
And that'll be on top of the PA 69 stuff that things are doing. It might get folded into that in some fashion, but
yeah, I think it's more of an expansion of that.
Would they take some of that money and subsidize then the villages, the village for, you know, what you pay now? Would the county takes, what would they use all the money for? Let's say you get $10,000 from, you get 50 cents a person. How many people live in the county?
25.
Oh, that's only 12 grand.
So this will help build programs.
To do programming,
Yeah.
teaching, education classes.
Yeah, and actually,
More bureaucracy.
you know, just kind of a lot of the things we're doing, except on a grander basis.
So such as if we expanded our recycling to do other things, there might be some money from the county to do those extra recycling things, or no, not necessarily. Could be talked about? At
this point, we don't know exactly what it's gonna look like. So it would be premature to say, oh yeah, there'd be plenty of money for everybody. We don't know what it's gonna look like.
For 20+ years, the one that they've held up as the banner for the north is Antrim County Transfer Station, correct? Emmett County.
Mm-hmm.
And that is supposedly the gold standard. And I could envision something like that, a little closer to home than what there currently is available.
Emmett County started their program in 1972 or 74. And I've toured it, and working with Bark, we get all of their mattresses. So this place is unbelievable. They do everything there, from from curbside pickups to electronics to, they even do farm classics and stuff like that. So, you know, I mean, Manistee County, if you think about it, there's an awful lot of recycling already that people may not realize. You have Fisher Tank, who refurbishes something like 100 and some thousand tanks every single year. And you have Bark, 88,000 square feet of recycling stuff. You have PCA, who I think it's like 30% of their stuff is recycling cardboard. You have the kitty litter place out on 115 that grinds up books and makes kitty litter. So I mean, there's a lot, and there's the composting worm farm out in, I'm not sure if it's Norman Township or Dixon Township. So I mean, there's a lot of different things that people don't even realize are going on already for the recycling programs just right here in Manistee County. So, you know, we can expand on that. We can look for new things to do, and we don't know exactly where this program is going to take us yet.
Okay. I want to ask batteries, just regular batteries. You used to take them to the county. Is there any place that does that now in the county? Regular, like double A's, battery, D-cell batteries. Someone asked, I don't know where to send them.
Yeah, we thought about having a container here, but we don't have anywhere to take them.
Place to get rid of them.
So,
Also, the hazardous waste will take them.
Yeah, I know,
Once
but
a year.
that's once a year. I mean, nobody does it, nobody,
well, Bark does,
Who?
but their Bark does.
and where are they at?
Yeah,
Calava.
Cause you gotta go over there, will they take them?
Yeah, but there is a fee for that because they have to be taped for transport, so. I mean, there's a whole,
So these are all ended up in the trash right now.
you know,
Okay.
yep. And that's how come sometimes you'll see, especially in larger metropolitan areas, there'll be, the trash trucks will catch on fire. Cause of, you know, but
Yeah,
you know, there's a lot of good things about this, and I think that it can expand, it can make things a lot, you know, better for what we're trying to do. And we're in the Great Lakes, and it's like, we're one of the lowest recycling states in the country. And that's pretty sad when we're surrounded by water. So,
okay,
okey-doke.
very good, thank you. I guess that's it. Questions, anybody? No, thank you for coming to the meeting. Harbor Commission, you turn a report, Jim, you got anything extra?
Great day. Great, I do.
Okay, what's that?
Not good.
You're not dredging?
I contacted the lead engineer last week, I emailed about our project. And got back that the state is requiring more sediment data. So our project is on hold. I tried calling her, and every time I call her, all it goes is right to voicemail. So I called Liz on Monday. And she hadn't heard that. So she was gonna check in. She's supposed to get back to me before today, but she hasn't yet.
Okay, and who was the other person you were talking to you can't reach? Who was that?
Jamie, she's a design engineer. And
Sediment where? What are they talking about?
well, they take samples, different areas throughout, the state requires them to. And
Okay,
they turn them in and they get them analyzed so that they know what is in that sediment. So when they put it out on the beach,
what's there? Okay,
what's there, if it's not to their liking, they'll have you ship it off site someplace.
okay,
We've never had to do that, so, but apparently now, and when I talked to Liz, she says, I don't think they've changed their requirements, so we should have had enough, but, so she was gonna be checking into it out.
so you don't know what they said they found, or if there is anything in the sediment even?
No, what I was told was they needed more sediment data, so.
Okay,
From the last time they dredged, or in the plan that they're
Would have
getting?
been probably last fall.
They don't
when they
have the
would have
ability to
taken
get that,
sample.
how, they can't go back and take more samples. I mean, they can sample what's there now, but not what
Right.
they put on the beach.
Well, they take it from the channel, they don't take it. from the
Okay.
beach.
so you're talking about they might want to take more samples.
Right.
Now's a heck of a time to come up with that idea.
I know, but I told them that we haven't got ice yet, so they could still go.
They
up there
can-
and do
they
it.
can-
So
out
that,
here.
is that project tied to the rock renourishment where it's settled along the piers, or that's
We're
separate?
chatting about that too, that's
It's
not,
getting worse.
right now, it's not in the budget.
Okay, yeah, I mean, there's spots where it's easy
Yeah.
that far down below the concrete.
I talked to Liz about that Monday, because everything I heard was, once we do the dredging, we'll do the rock. And when I talked to Liz, she says, no, we're not gonna do that. So she indicated that they didn't have access to the piers, and I said,
That's
I
not true.
can get you access to each pier, both sides. And then she said, how am I gonna distribute it? And I said, well, get a Bobcat and run up and down.
Yeah,
But she says, we don't have Bobcats, so,
rent one.
yeah, so she was gonna look into that again too, so.
Liz is through what? Is she through core?
She's in Holland. Or in Grand.
She was the one that was at the
Right,
ribbon cutting, right?
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not the one we dealt with last time it was on site though, the one that just got married, what was her name? She got married here a couple years ago. She was out here as project manager.
Oh, that, yeah. No,
This is someone different.
right. She took over, I'm trying to think of his name, John?
No, Steve,
No,
the guy that retired,
right.
not the gray bander, that was the guy before.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No, it doesn't matter, except that I don't know who she is. I could. I'm trying to think, I don't have any relationship with, I don't know if I even know her, so.
Didn't give her an apple.
I don't think I've ever met her. She was at the ribbon cutting, I just don't remember.
Yeah,
We'll see how you get there, because if you don't, we need to go around that, because that doesn't make sense to not. You know.
that's what it said.
Okay,
And the other thing, I don't know if any of you knew Marie Strum, but she's retiring from the Corps, so.
okay.
David, before.
Oh, my form, did I pass that? Sorry, okay, thank you, Jim. So. The boundary adjustment, I thought we voted on this. Did we not? We talked about it for 2 seconds. I'm sorry. We have a land division form. And we have been using that for property line adjustments. Property line adjustment is you own property, your neighbor owns property, you want to buy 50 feet of their property. You don't have to do a land division because you are changing the property line. We do not charge for a boundary adjustment. We do charge for land divisions. Because we're having so many of these lately, I asked Jody, and she pulled one up. This must be the cities or it must be someone in the counties, and she sent me a copy of it. It to me would suffice. It'd be a lot better than having to do a land division for them.
I'll make that motion.
Put our logo on it, make it.
We put our logo in, it would say
Yes.
Onekama Township, that'd be the only difference, but
There is a fee in there, you know. $50. Like page 2.
Yes, page 2.
4C.
okay, so I actually, see, maybe that's why she highlighted it. Okay, right now, we do not charge for that. We do not charge anything for a property line boundary adjustment. It
So we'll
takes,
take that out.
well, if you want to, it takes, I'm
Well,
doing,
not if I want to.
well, the township. So right now, I'm doing these as land divisions, and I do these and do not charge for them. So I don't think, it's a pretty easy thing. I don't think you need to charge for them.
I will make that motion to accept this form with our logo and at no cost.
Okay,
And contact information.
I'm sorry, Condia chain.
Oh, with David's contact information?
Well, it's
Sure.
just the whole top has to be redone.
Yeah, we'll just have it redo. It says property owner, property
And-
receiving land,
Home phone number.
Onekama Township. Well, she didn't change, she
That
just
is,
sent
Dave,
this.
that's the form that Molly talked about a couple meetings ago, 3 meetings ago, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason for that is she wants someone in the assessing, actually, I'll let her do this, not me. I'll turn it over to the assessor. She wants to make sure when you're doing this, it doesn't screw up. I still run it by, I have always run these by zoning, so they don't, let's say it's 200 foot. And you have 250, and you give your neighbor, I don't know, 60 feet, now all of a sudden you're undersized. So we've had that happen twice, or don't laugh anymore. The one out there on the lake who gave the permit because they own the property, but you couldn't combine it.
Oh, right.
That whole deal, we don't want that to happen again. So this is all that. I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I did.
Who seconded?
Yes.
Okay, with those changes, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye. See you later. Pass. Opposed, same, period. Onekama Township. Parks and Rec, I'm sorry, jumping all over. Harbor Commission, we did. Parks and Rec. There's a report on file. Vic?
Since we're now operating under the Open Meetings Act, we had full attendance, but only 4 people were there. And Shelley advised that that was not a meeting, so we didn't include anything in the packet this time.
Okay. We've talked about grant writer and
Yeah, I'll have a budget according to the Shelley or the timeline that Shelley put out. All of our members will be coming. Well, hopefully we'll have a quorum at the next meeting. They're all submitting their ideas. I'll consolidate those ideas and we'll get a budget request to you according to the timetable that Shelley published.
Vic, how many people are on your committee right now?
9. That's what we're authorized to have. That's what we have.
How many are actually appointed? Do you have 9 people appointed?
Yeah, you may recall I had a list last month that and we put some dates on their effective dates and such, because when some of the most recent ones joined, we didn't actually put their term on there. So I did some suggested ones last time, and it's in last month's township minutes, I think, isn't it, Shelley? It was part of my presentation. So
Yeah, no, it's not in the minutes, their terms. It's on our committee list that we have internally.
okay.
It's not on the website.
No, it's not.
It's on the website.
Anything else?
No.
Questions? None? Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wallace, Planning Commission. Turn the report on.
Well,
We got the minutes
Got the minutes, do you have anything else you want?
yesterday. They're on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, I just put them on.
and we thought perhaps we would be dealing with PPI this month, because last month Mr. Gazan had a family emergency. But Mr. Gazan has not been in contact with us. We don't have time to publish a special meeting. So, and I haven't heard back from Attorney Greer. And so we'll just let PPI rest until April.
Okay,
It's sort of planning commission, but there's also a ZBA appeal hanging out there that we don't have a clue as to what's going on with that, because we don't even understand why we got it.
What is the ZBA appeal?
We got an appeal on the decision of the planning commission from September 21st, when the planning commission approved, had 4 items to look at on
for Porch Point
PPI,
Inn, okay.
and we approved 3 of them. We approved correcting the parcel numbers which are associated within the boundaries of Portage Point Inn, Windfall Landings. We approved allowing for the footprint expansion of the hotel in order to put a foundation under that building. And the third one, we approved the pool and sun deck, or whatever it's called. And then we tabled the dollhouse issue. And from that, we got a ZBA appeal. I don't know what.
So have we dealt, have we, I mean,
we haven't done anything. We've given it to Mr. Greer.
so we need to schedule a appeal hearing?
Well,
We need Mr. Greer to be more timely. He's not being very timely.
He's got quite a list.
That's what we need.
we're trying to figure out who it is that's appealing. The
Well, you
appeal,
have to have
the appeal came from an attorney,
well, that's okay.
representing a group, which we believe are, part of, Andy's Point.
Okay, what does it matter?
Isn't there an official form that you have to fill out
Yes,
to file an
they
appeal?
did.
And it's complete and accurate and full? If it's not, then it's not.
It's
official
complete, it's
request.
complete as the attorney acting as the agent for this group.
Okay. So do we have so many days we have to act on that? I mean, that becomes problematic if we're not.
I don't understand why we're not. Okay. Is it the form I saw that looked like, that wasn't our form, was it?
Yes, actually it is.
Oh, wow, okay. That needs to be revamped.
It
Did-
looks like,
Did we ever get the property thing resolved?
the
Okay.
property. The
Go ahead,
numbers, the
go
numbers got fixed. Well, they voted to, are you talking about those numbers?
No, I'm talking about something different. Go ahead.
No.
That's,
Okay, so have you talked to Tom lately?
I have not.
Okay, so you have permission, would you please call him tomorrow and see where that's at?
And make sure there aren't any deadlines that we're running up against. I do have a question, Dave. The three things that the planning commission approved. I know they're being appealed, so we may want to wait till that gets all resolved, but is that going to be then incorporated into the special use permit so that anybody can come in and say, I want a copy of the Portage Point Inn special use permit. Here it is. It's got everything that's been approved. How is that going to be handled?
It'll be handled with an addendum to the special use permit
Okay,
product.
but there will be a written document that.
There will be, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and the dollhouse issue is still on hold. It's not been acted on. Nothing's been done, correct?
We've discussed it a lot.
Okay. No decision. How about I ask that? No decision.
No decision.
Thank you. I just want to make sure because I got asked that the other day and I said,
And is there provisions in the zoning ordinance for special use permit applications where you have to render a decision if the application's complete in a certain time period?
Well, we've already,
he means on this particular issue.
You tabled it, right?
yeah.
How, can it be tabled indefinitely? It probably can't be. I'm just curious. I don't know without looking at it.
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer.
We might want to check with Gary on that as well. Just.
I think at some point you gotta make a decision.
You do, yeah. It can't be indefinite.
Okay. And somebody asked me the other day about, they want to institute. You had a couple different issues about view shed. They want us to look at a view shed ordinance.
I'm not going anywhere near that.
No, I don't believe we should. I'm just bringing it up to the board if that's been brought up.
We have a view shed ordinance.
No, we do not.
You're entitled to a view over the property you own.
We do not have a view shed ordinance preventing, you own, let's say that person over there owns that house and you own this lot. You build a two-story house and you block their view away, okay? We do not have that ordinance and nor I don't think we should institute it now.
We do say that the person that lives back there is not entitled to protection of the view shed they have.
Well, they want us to institute a view shed ordinance and I said, I'll bring it up, but I don't think that it's gonna get much traction because I don't know how you can't go back in time.
Well, no, but more problematic, if I've got a single story house that's on the lake and I wanna make it a two-story house and my neighbor behind me doesn't like that.
Can't.
And you have a view shed ordinance, is the neighbor gonna pay the guy that's got the property in front of them for loss of property value? I mean, it's just a can of worms.
We're gonna have an appeal for that exact issue to the tax board review.
Yeah, how you value the property based on that sort of thing is a different issue. I'm concerned about property rights.
No, and this is an issue, right? So, okay. Anything else, David? Good?
I have a notice here for a notice of adoption that we changed. Is that just information for us? Notice of adoption for zoning general regulation, amend the Article 10 regulation.
Can I see it?
1019.
Oh, we did that
Okay.
and that was published in the newspaper.
Got just information.
That's just the
Yes.
notice that is public.
Yes.
Invasive species, we have a report?
No.
No, okay, well, there's nothing going on.
If Al is still in where he's at and can only listen, should I be in place or Bob be in place of the meetings as the township rep?
Who else is on that committee? Does it have to, I just need a report, you don't need to appoint
I think we should have an alternate. That's an important committee.
I guess we should
Right.
have it all, because if he can't, yeah, it's kind of not good, right?
I mean,
You wanna be the alternate or Bob?
I mean,
You volunteering?
I will, as long as their meeting isn't, I have to look on my emails. I mean, I'm on vacation starting Wednesday, but I'll look on my emails to see when their next meeting is.
How about one of you two?
I will.
I know you. Sorry.
When does Parks Committee meet?
Last Friday of the month,
But like in the middle of the day?
8:30 in the morning.
Early.
I have to be the alternate on that, but. I can do that.
Not them?
Well,
Oh, that's a Bob, he'll do that one.
That's a Bob.
I'm there most of the time anyway.
Yeah, so that might be okay.
spring potato chips, so we all said.
That's all I need.
PLA, can you do that report?
No,
Okay.
I want nothing to do with that one.
Okay. No, I said, can Al give that report? He can't because he's a
No.
township
Nope.
board member, can't give that report either. Okay. I'm sorry, Al, this is not. The best thing.
No, not at all.
No, the state should change the public comment. Libby?
We still have the budget stuff, is that gonna be
Oh.
after public or before?
We can do that in case anyone wants to leave. You're gonna stay for budget?
I'd like to know when that deadline is.
Okay, never mind. We'll go back to the budget thing. We'll go back.
So the calendar just says, to discuss budget priorities. So I've got a couple things to discuss and talk about the process or whatever we need to, so. I had VC3 go through all of our computers and see which ones need to be replaced. And Dave, which you've been having a lot of problems with here, says replace now, and mine says replace in, the next fiscal year. So I can get quotes and we can get those replaced shortly after April 1st, if that's, that's something that we need to think about in the budget.
And VC3 is our tech company.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
went through them. I can get quotes.
Mhm.
The whole thing about the email, I wasn't here for that discussion. We can set up emails and there's a cost associated with that depending on what level of licensing they have. So, if
How
that's,
cheap can we do it for all these people?
you can probably get something for maybe $30 a year, but it's just bare bones. It's just email. I'll have to double check the pricing on it. Or you can, there's tiers that go up from there.
What do you mean, just email? What else is there?
Well, like our licenses, the full blown ones have all of the cloud storage and the Teams and the SharePoint, all that. There's a bunch of stuff that's rolled into that.
Oh,
We don't need
They
that
don't need
necessarily for all those committee members. do we?
No,
No.
like there's something called a kiosk license that only gives you email and it only gives it to you through the web. Or that's the cheapest level. So I think that would probably work if that's what we want to do. But I guess the question is, you've given me a list. Do you want me to just let you know what the price is for that level of license? I was waiting because the real thing here is we need to, for FOIA retention, and VC3 is, they're recommending this product called Proofpoint that they're standardizing on, that it does spam filtering and it also does email archiving. And it's $1.50 per mailbox per month. So that's gonna be, if you have 40 mailboxes, that's $60 a month or $720 a year. There's a one-time $640 implementation fee. But
And it'll automatically archive.
every email that comes and goes will be retained. So, and it's supposed to be easy to query.
I think we do that.
If that's something
For
we
the
want to
budget
do
purpose,
for the
yeah.
upcoming budget, then I can get that back to them and we can get that scheduled. But I can get all the pricing, that just.
Couldn't do that before, because I think we should do that. That way it just solves all this.
I mean,
FOIAs.
it's only a couple of months, I can get the email boxes set up, it just takes a little bit of time, and we can get this scheduled. Whether we pay for it this year or next year, it's only $640, it's not gonna break the budget, so. We can talk about it at the next meeting if we wanna implement it, or we can talk about it now and decide if we wanna do it, but I wanted to bring that up.
Well, I think that emails are a priority.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and get those set up then if we want.
Is it 30?
I had used 40 as an estimate. I think that was what we had to count. It may be a few more.
It's pretty close, yeah.
Well, there's 9 on Parks and Rec. You've got how many on plan?
40 you covered, probably.
She had a list.
I had everybody.
Okay, you already
yeah.
counted
That
everyone.
gave us a couple extras, just I think.
We put everyone on the fire department on it?
Mhm,
That's what the request is.
Yeah,
mhm.
okay.
Okay, I'll just move ahead with that then and get those coming. For the other, I guess, items for the budget, so. I saw something come through about, I guess we need to decide what we're doing with, maintenance. And I think that needs to flow into cleaning of this building and all the things that our maintenance do. We've got lawn mowing, we've got salting, we've got plowing, we've got stuff in the parks, we've got garbage pickup, we've got cleaning this building, we've got yada, 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 all that stuff. The question there, is there enough, do we wanna bid that out, and can we get somebody or some company to do all of that? Do we wanna continue with this kind of hybrid thing that we've had? Do we wanna look at hiring a permanent part-time employee? What makes the most sense? And I'd like to have a discussion about that. I don't know what makes the most
The
sense.
Parks and Rec are having that discussion at the moment, and they have come up with some guidelines, and I sent you a copy.
And I saw that, and I didn't know what the genesis of that was. I wanted to discuss it. Is
Well-
it just for parks, or is it for all of the township property?
For all.
Okay,
It
Did
is
you
a
get the
township-
email?
It's
Okay.
a township employee. What we share with the park.
so the way I read that, and I didn't get a chance to go through the whole thing, it sounded like it was gonna be contracted out. That's not an
Yes.
employee. Okay, so
That's just
That's
option
my
one.
idea, contract.
yeah, so that's a fundamental difference that I think we need to talk through and decide.
And we don't have to, if you contract it out, we don't have to supply equipment and all of this stuff.
You're right. And you're gonna-
Or the other side of that is if we purchase that property and if we talk about putting a building up.
The only thing you need is a storage building if you contract.
If you did a contract, you had an employee.
If you had an employee, you gotta have a garage.
Well, one
All that
of
stuff.
the issues that you have with a contract gets down to how is that looked at with the IRS? Because normally a contract is, I need you to do X, Y, Z, I need you to mow this park 3 times a week. And then the contractor shows up on whatever day and just does it. We're not there overseeing them, we're not dictating what they're doing. I have a feeling like
That's
this,
the way this thing is written up.
right, but I have a feeling that there's gonna be a lot more demands, particularly from parks, because things are gonna come up and they're gonna call them and say, hey, can we do this, can we do that? Now they're starting to cross that line as to are you being treated like an employee? So
Right.
we just need to figure that out. I mean, it's a fun, I mean,
We
yes,
need to have these discussions and figure out how much
Well-
does all this cost us as opposed to actually having an employee.
yeah, exactly.
I almost think we're better off having an employee,
But
just me personally.
But then again, then you've got to make sure that that person has the right
Right.
skill set
Yeah.
to be able to do all that, and there's some equipment things, and. You know, we can put this together and do an analysis on the spreadsheet. It looks like the Parks Department stuff has some information there, but. You know, that, at some point, you get to where it makes sense to have that be done. Now. If there's certain things that you want to contract out, like plowing this parking lot, that makes sense to contract that out. But is that same person that does the plowing, some companies will do lawn mowing, some don't, some just snow plow. You know, picking up the garbage, that may make more sense to be an employee, because if there's an issue on the weekend, you have that employee just go do it.
Well, that's what this is for, is discussion.
Yeah.
Who's gonna do it? How are we gonna do it? Is it gonna be an employee? Is it gonna be a
Right, and
contract?
I think that's great that the parks is talking about that in context of the parks. I think, the board needs to decide what direction and look at that.
The
what we want.
board is key to the park.
But I mean, there's stuff here, we've got cleaning of this building, right? If we have a storage building over there at some point, which that could be a budget discussion too, we don't know. You know, what's that gonna look like? You know, we're on the cusp of a lot of things here. The township is growing, there's more and more activity, there's more and more demands.
I think it's been cheaper in the past for us to subcontract everything out. I think that's changed now.
Well,
to me.
you know, doesn't
Right.
matter to me.
No, I know.
Which way we go back.
But I just think it's cheaper.
Whichever.
I'm muted.
You're not muted, Vic, you're on.
So, I mean, what work we did was with the assumption that it was going to be contracted out. We haven't taken a position one way or another. We're having the same kind of thoughts and discussion that you guys are, because if it is an employee, you know, who are they going to report to? Certainly not a volunteer member of Parks and Rec. So those are the kinds of things we're looking for direction from you on, and then we'll deal with it.
I mean, Vic, are you guys thinking about having, a parks person for programming like you did last year?
Yes, with less hours, because that person wants to focus just on the events, and we're going to present to you, here are the events, here's the person, here's the number of hours. It will be less than last year. But, you know, as you said, I mean, we have a lot of demands on weekends for trash and such. And so, you know, there's members of our committee that visit each of those, but with an employee, we will have to put some structure in place that says, you know, who are they reporting to, and, you know, all that's associated with an employee. So I'm not sure which way to go. I just know that we do have a lot of requirements.
Hey, Vic, one thing that I would like to know from the Parks Committee is North Point Park, are you gonna keep that a seasonal park? Are you gonna open it for a wintertime park too? I mean, that's stuff we're gonna need to know as well.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion about how while we have it, it should be used in the wintertime for cross-country skiing and that sort of thing. That's why we've discussed, plowing the lot in the wintertime and keeping the porta potty in place. Or if we're not going to, plow the lot, get rid of the porta potty. But there has been discussion about, yes, let's use that all year long while we have it. People like the park. They like to walk their dogs. So yeah, that would be part of it.
Okay, because that's gonna need an answer for that, because that's all gonna entail part of the budget as well.
But let's
So Vic, while we're talking about North Point Park, just a random question. The other day I was driving by it on Bayview, right where that one little parking lot is, just past that. And there was somebody out there with a UTV and their dog, I'm assuming on the paved trail. That's probably not allowed, is it?
No.
So I just FYI.
So the other question that comes to my mind is when you're talking about employee versus contracting out, one of the things that we need to get done this year is we need to get the gazebo repainted. Would that best be served by an employee, or would that be something that we should just contract out?
You'd get gouged by a contractor. I think that's the sort of thing that if you have the right employee with the right skill set, it's a huge win. If you get the wrong employee that doesn't know what they're doing,
A huge cost.
then it's a huge problem, because then it's got to be redone or it doesn't last. So the key to the employee, in my view, is getting the person that's got that right skill set, kind of a handyman, jack of all trades, who's conscientious. And that's a tough person to find, especially if it's just a permanent part-time. A lot of times that's going to be potentially a retiree or an early retiree who's looking to fill some hours, for 4 or 5 years. Or it could be maybe somebody just starting out, but it's difficult to find because it's not necessarily full-time. If you can make it and justify it full-time, then that's different. You can get people for that. But if it's a permanent part-time, it's harder.
Yeah, agree. One of the comments, and I don't know whether the comment is right or not, but it was that getting that right employee may not be able to be done at $20 an hour. It may need more than that. I don't know what the prevailing rate is for that kind of employee, tell you the truth.
Yeah, it really depends on what you're asking them to do. And to Bob's point, if you're going to have a mowing, if that is part of the employee's job rather than contracting out that specific service to a lawn company who's already got all the equipment, now you got to buy the equipment. You're going to need to get them a truck to get back and forth. So there's other expenses. At some point you can't continue with incrementalism. You've got to make a big jump and commit to doing something. And it may be that costs you more in the short term, but is the better decision in the long run. Or you have a hybrid approach like we've been doing, but we need a better, more capable employee than we've had in the past doing some of these maintenance things. And this is the time to do it. I don't personally think you can contract all of this out. I think you can split it up, but then you got to make sure you've got enough to make it a position that's worthwhile. So.
And make sure you don't buy equipment that you utilize it, but then you underutilize it. Right. So if you're going to mow and haul the track in a trailer and you're going to move the lawnmowers around, then you're going to buy a 4-wheel driver and you put a plow on it because you might as well plow.
Right. Exactly. It's those.
You can't.
Right.
There's no in between. Right.
You got to make a decision what kind of jump you want to do.
Right. And I guess the thing to do is to add everything up, have this talk between everybody and figure out at some point, we probably make that leap. Maybe it's not right now, but we still need to.
We're going to have to do it this year.
About one way or another. Yeah. I agree with that. So, okay, Beck, anything else?
No, just, we're looking for direction from you guys on that. We don't feel like that's our position to make a recommendation that big to go, in-house versus contract, but we'll work with you on it.
No, we just need to know what you think you wanna do and how much we go about it as a subcontractor, that's fine, and we can weigh all these costs out and see if it makes sense.
Well, part of our budget will tell you the, the periodic items like resurfacing the parking lot out at North Point and painting the gazebos. We'll identify those as projects that are due this year. And then we'll either have to get bids for those, or we'll have to have more discussion on, well, of course, the parking lot would have to bid out anyway, I believe.
Yeah. Parking lot's that's out of our control, it's just a bid, but okay. Thank you.
So that's some of the conversations. I did have VC3 evaluate some of our switches and stuff. I just got that estimate, so some of that doesn't need to be done, but they were recommending some upgrades. That thing, do we need to?
Yes.
Upgrade that and move it out of this room?
No, it has to stay in this room.
It has to
Well,
stay.
no, let me rephrase that. I have to have a camera in this room.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
Okay.
that whole control panel, we
Okay.
can move into that back room with
That's
probably an easier system.
This may not be your thing to ask. Can you rewind that to look at it still? Or no?
Certainly.
You can.
No, I'm not gonna do it. You wanna sit at that thing and do that?
No, could you show Rob or I how to do that?
Certainly.
Okay. I'm not asking you to sit there. Can we go back by the time frame? You can go back by the day.
How long?
Rob, do you have any idea?
Probably 2 months.
Does it go back that far?
I think so.
It loops after a certain time, right?
I think, I don't remember.
Okay.
It's a month.
It probably does.
So it has to. 30 days, or do we go back?
So we wanna consider upgrading this system and maybe getting a couple more cameras to something that's less than 15 years old or however old.
Something that has better clarity would be nice.
Yeah.
So I can get some estimates for that,
Okay,
if that's a technology thing that we wanna do.
I think it is. I think we do. Right?
Yep,
Okay.
next time, it's service.
Be nice if it looped more than 30 days, if that's the time frame.
Well, you just gotta pay for storage space.
Okay,
And I don't know if that's recording 24/7 or if it's only, some of the cameras are only motion activated.
No, it's.
Yeah, so the motion activated ones are a lot better.
because you don't have to, it doesn't take up near as much space, right, okay. Could we get a quote on that?
Yeah, we can get some
I
estimates.
think we need some estimates just to
Estimate.
upgrade that, and then, okay, what else you have for time frame?
So it looks like the boards and commissions stuff is due back here to the clerk by the end of January. Is Vic still on? Vic's aware of that, right? But I don't know if any of the other boards and commissions have any budgetary items, really. I mean, like invasive species is a board, it's a special assessment, that's not really.
Nothing there, you
Right.
guys have any special?
I already talked to Shelley about it.
Yeah.
Well,
enough.
Can I say something about invasive species?
Yeah,
What, there has been some invasive species work done at North Point Park, but in discussions with Doug and Al and Michelle and Tyler, Parks and Rec feels like invasive species on the land side also belongs to the invasive species group as opposed to Parks and Rec. And at some point, we need to make a decision on what are we going to do with invasive species, because I need direction from the board. I mean, does the board want us attacking invasive species at all of the parks? And if they do, I mean, there's dollars and cents associated with that. There's neighbors that may or may not do it. So we're just, spending money after spending money. So I would rather get this in the hands of pros as opposed to ourselves. And I think Doug and
You have to keep separate the SAD.
Right, but that's.
for funding purposes, they have to say different because your funding now is just for water.
Right.
So Vic, I agree that the special assessment committee can take on that additional responsibility and probably should, and work closely with the Parks Commission. But the funding would just have to come out of the township general fund for the terrestrial stuff as opposed to the special assessment district, which is the lake.
Exactly.
That's easy enough to do. But if that's something that we need to if the board agrees and wants to let the invasive species committee know that, then we can change, if it has to be changed in their bylaws or whatever.
However,
We can do that.
when the committee members were presented with joining that group, they were said it was aquatic at the time, and they're not willing to do land.
The committee members are?
Correct.
So
That's
then
new
I
to
think.
me. I didn't know that discussion had had. We had been
Yeah.
waiting to see whether or not
That's,
they would take that on. I had not heard that had been presented to them.
that's what was, yeah.
So Vic, there's professionals that can deal with invasive species that we can just budget money to consult with them and they can take care of it and we can just cut them out. They don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, and I would like some help from the board on exactly what you would like our approach to be within the parks. I mean, when we see invasive species, is it your direction that we go take care of it? Like, for example, Glenn has got some, and I've been told by some of the invasive species experts, Tyler on our team and on invasive species, that, you know, Glenn is a pristine park and you want to get that nipped in the bud right away to keep it a pristine park. Whereas North Point has a lot of opportunity, but it's also got a lot of invasive species. So, you know, those are discussions that are over my head, but I think I'd like to get Tyler talking to the board and you guys come up with some decisions on, you know, is this something you want to pursue? And let's come up with a strategy to do that.
And maybe now that Tyler is on the invasive species, maybe he can discuss it with them and make them feel more comfortable with the land, right?
Either way, we can budget some money to do something with invasive species. I think we should do that.
Right, right.
For purposes of budgeting this year, we had made the decision in Parks and Recs that we were not going to be budgeting for terrestrial because we thought it was going to be moving over there. But, you know, Tyler can make those recommendations, you know, along, you know, with, there's others on invasive species that I think might embrace it. There's some that are water only, but certainly they are more attuned to the whole concept of invasives than I think Parks and Rec is.
Is it Autumn Olive in Glen Park?
North Point, probably. Where do you mean the little ones?
Yeah, I mean.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
You don't know what the invasive was in Glen Park?
No, I do not. I was told that I don't have that email in front of me right now.
Okay. It might be because that whole field there too, between me, my property in Glen Park is full of Autumn Olive. So I kill mine yearly and I can't keep it out. So.
But
Okay,
that gets
thanks.
to the whole point, Dave, where if you have adjacent properties that don't have any interest in keeping it out, then, you know, doing it yourself is just, you know, it's a futile effort because it's going to keep coming back. So to me, those are policy decisions that I'd like help from the board on. Do we want to keep our parks free of it or not? Or do we want to pick parks that are currently pristine and keep them pristine, or just, you know, and I think Tyler could make some recommendations.
That's fine.
Yeah, there is a group in Traverse City that the Conservation District partners with, the Invasive Species Network, and they do deal on a parcel by parcel basis of terrestrial invasives. Because we had some inquiries from Portage Lake people about, looks like I've got Phragmites that are creeping up onto my lawn. Well, Bree doesn't want anything to do with anything on your lawn because it's not in the water. But Audra will work with individual parcels.
And maybe they're native too.
Well,
you know,
that too, but
okay.
So, Bob, it looks like Bear Lake Township's gonna play now on Millard Road.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, how does that impact anything for roads?
We just have to pay our share, 88, what it was, wasn't it?
Okay, I'm just wondering in terms of, do we have enough to do other projects and stuff? So, okay, so that's on there. You know, I don't know, is there anything for capital for the fire department that they need, that you're aware of?
well, we'll be having
truck.
the truck,
Right.
the rescue.
Rob, how much is the new, I can't remember, it was 92 or is it the new rescue rig?
The new rescue rig.
I can't.
It's in
Wasn't
my-
it one
110.
30 or something, 120. Yeah, but then we planned on getting so much, so it ended up being around 90 or 80 or something.
Okay,
We
and that
were figuring we get 30 for the.
other one, that's what it was. Maybe
But that's gonna stretch into the next year, right? We're gonna have to.
No, probably not.
Already,
No.
so I'll have to pay
No,
for
not
that
the rest.
31st.
Not the rest of it, it'll be fine.
The engine will be.
Yeah, the engine's gonna be.
But we're way off anyways, okay. When do you want to talk about this again? What's your next date?
Well, I mean, so the reason I wanted to bring it up is this is slated to discuss budget priorities. The budget requests have to be to the clerk by January 31st.
Correct.
February 14th, there's a regular meeting where we introduce the proposed budget. For the
Okay,
public, talk through everything. There's the 21st is a budget public hearing and a budget work session.
Mhm.
So if there's any input and then there's changes, so we need to at some point figure out the time on that. And then the 23rd is an optional work session if we need that, which we
Okay.
haven't in the past. And then our regular meeting is when we adopt the 25 budget
okay.
in March.
So you're gonna have 2 weeks
Can
from the end of
you-
January when all this stuff is turned in. That
Those are on the calendar.
Where do I find them?
Those dates are on our calendar.
The website calendar?
Mhm.
Where on the website calendar?
On the actual calendar.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Right.
like if it's,
In February, I didn't go to February, but I could find. it
yeah,
on the
if
February.
if we have like a meeting, our regular board meeting,
I know, yeah.
in the notes part of it, it has what we're doing pertaining to the budget. Cause that's what, they're basically,
So that, what he just read, I could have gotten by going to the February, whatever, 7th, 8th.
okay, click on township board, so go to regular meeting. Then,
There. That's where the agenda is?
Well, it's February, the agenda's not been published.
No, I don't mean the
No.
agenda, I mean the budget calendar that you just went over.
what do we have when, there was
You should
something,
just scan this and stick it out there. and-
yeah, I can,
Yeah.
I'll just,
I would love a copy
But-
of that.
oh, I can scan that, right,
You
okay.
can
I
put
was
it
gonna
right
say,
there.
I can't do that as a PDF. Yeah, I can scan it and put it,
We can save this as a PDF on the Excel spreadsheet. I'll show you how to do that.
okay.
Can I, just so you guys know,
Oh, I'll put it on the news section on the left-hand side. I'll save it as a file. And put it.
What, Vic, go ahead.
so we are avoiding group correspondence now, as we've discussed. So all of the Parks and Rec members are submitting to me individually their proposals for budget items, and I'm to aggregate that. I'll get those on the 10th, whatever this Friday is. And then
So
between I'm sorry,
when is your regular parks meeting?
29th, I believe, is the last Friday of the month.
So then you're gonna discuss those in a public meeting on the 29th and then get them to Shelley after that, correct?
That's the point I'm making right now. Since they will be given to me, I will aggregate them without any consultation so that when I present them to the group, there is going to probably be a lot of discussion since we can't have discussion prior to that. So for me to get all that on the 29th and turn it around to Shelley by the 31st will be significant if there are a lot of discussions. And you know, we've got a lot of ideas this year. So I said earlier, we're going to try to live with the current plan, and we will. But the fact that we can't work between now and then is making it a little bit of a challenge for us. So just be aware we're living within the rules, but the rules are creating a little bit of a work for us.
You can have a special meeting. I mean, you're not stuck with only
But if
one
I have
meeting.
a special meeting, do I have to have a quorum?
Yes, you have to have a quorum.
Well, we have a lot of out-of-state people in the Parks and Rec group, so that becomes a challenge. So,
And your meeting's the 26th.
is it the 26th? I don't have a calendar in
Yes.
front of me.
Yeah,
It's
26,
It's the 26th.
Friday.
So Ben,
Anyway,
can I make a couple suggestions or comments? One, I think our clerk would probably be more than willing to give you a couple extra days of dispensation
Oh,
after
yeah.
the 31st to get your stuff in. So I don't think that that's a hard and fast deadline. You're by far the biggest departmental budget. So I think if in terms of a committee, not like the fire department.
Yeah.
So in terms of getting that, I think, a few more days would be fine. this calendar is probably gonna be very similar every year moving forward. You know, it'll get tweaked, but that gets us into a good rhythm. So I would suggest you guys start your budgeting in December. Or maybe even November, and you set your own internal budget process so that you can meet these deadlines, and I think then that's, so just know that this is gonna look similar to this probably every year. Does that make sense?
It does. It's just that it's a little bit earlier this year than in the past. That's why we're under a little bit of the gun.
It's the same exact calendar Ed used last year.
Well, then maybe it's just the fact that, I mean, we've been talking budget since November, but we just haven't put the whole thing together.
And part of this, and we can certainly talk about this, the reason that this kind of slid earlier than maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago is because there was a desire to get the budget approved on a regular meeting in March. And so you lose 2 weeks there. Because if you had a special meeting at the end of March for the township board to approve the budget, now everybody's got 2 more weeks, but that wasn't kind of the consensus of how we wanted to do that. So I just think for your information, this is probably where the budget, the calendar is going to be. It seems to work. And if we need to slide stuff back, and this year, because it seems compressed, I think you've got a little more time than maybe the January 31st deadline to get it to Shelley.
Vic, if you want to get it to me by the 7th, that's fine. February 7th.
Okay.
I mean, we just want to be able to get it in and put it on the website so that the public can look at it before the meeting on the 14th. But the whole purpose of the meeting on the 14th isn't to take public comment.
No.
It's to introduce the budget, discuss the budget of the township board, introduce it to the public so they understand what's in the budget. And then you take public comments a week later after they've had time to digest it. And that's a good process. So I think this is workable. It just, we all need to be a little flexible and then we can move on in a better process next year.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. Fine.
Bob, you have anything, buildings and grounds guy that you think needs to be dealt with? You got your parking lot.
I think you ought to make a 5-year plan for repainting the building.
Here,
Yes.
we can budget money.
I'd like to see some money. You and I joked about this, but where the recycling bins were, get that gravel out of there, topsoil it and seed it. So it's
Right over here behind.
just behind the building.
A rain garden.
It's not a big deal, but it's just an aesthetic thing. But I think that looked nice. And then Dave wanted to turn it into a park.
Apparently not.
Picnic table on it, but so you can smell at lunchtime you can smell the roasted chicken from the Easy Market.
Roasted chicken.
But
Turtle.
so there's little stuff like that we just have a maintenance
Not
catch-all.
a turtle thing.
The turtle, we should actually name that the turtle, whatever. I never did see any little turtles. by
I
the way.
didn't either.
So,
The Turtle Observatory.
see how many laid eggs? Oh
There
my
was a
God,
lot.
I don't, 20 turtles?
So let me ask another quick question. What is the view like? Has anybody been up at the top of this building on the roof? Do you have a good view of the lake from there or not really? Kind of over the marsh and stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there. I think it would be a cool addition to our website if we had a live streaming webcam somewhere where we have internet
There's
access.
Libby's website.
That would be good as long as everything's accurate
Okay,
consistent.
Libby,
live
I
streaming.
guarantee you a live stream camera will be 100% accurate.
Okay, but I want my videos on for my Zoom too,
So,
just so you know.
hang on, let me finish. In
You
any
gonna put
event,
it on a pole?
well,
As
you
long as
might
I don't have
you'd
to run
do
the
some
Zoom
stuff, but
'cause I messed
that's
it
a
up.
that's a cool thing, and I can tell you at the city, the #1 traffic page by far on
What's
our
that?
website are our 3 webcams. It draws people to the website. It's just-
Langland webcam pointing at the trash bin.
We don't have trash bins.
The trash bin's gone.
Oh,
But this would overlook the wetlands. You might even catch an eagle occasionally,
Yeah.
I don't, just something to think about.
The
I don't know
other
if that's
thing that you
been used.
better think about is solar panels on the roof.
Not here.
Where are you gonna put them?
We're not putting them on this roof.
Why not?
No, this roof is shot.
What is it?
Well, it's been redone, but
Well, so's every other
you
roof in
can't go
America.
put solar panels up there. You start from new, you probably.
So I might throw that in and we can discuss it. when we have
Okay.
the budget discussion.
There's a lot of things like that.
Hey, probably put it on the flagpole.
But you can, as
Keep
long as it.
discussing the solar panel.
No, you
So
could
it's,
put the camera up there, couldn't you?
somewhere that you wanna be able to see over everything and have an unobstructed view.
A digital sign instead of putting stuff on a billboard should be, that should Be thinking
Plastic sign like
long-
a church.
Yeah. Like, not today, not tomorrow, but.
Kind of
Before.
a neat idea.
So, yeah, we gotta make a laundry list. I mean, you see the sign that's on the Rams? That's more than we need, way more.
More weight.
But it's programmable. You can go in and you can update it.
But you could have township board meeting today,
You could have-
planning
Kind
commission
of like the
meeting
school
today.
has. It needs to be better than the school, less than the Rams.
No, it's possible.
Something, yeah.
You could have you have your webpage on it. Or webpage.
No, we're not
Or
gonna
things,
do
special
that.
meetings, you could do all kinds. Anyway,
There's things you can
Are you
do.
done with your budget thing?
Are there any other road priorities that we need to be budgeting? for
Well,
So you
besides-
got about all you can handle for a while.
We gotta know,
Okay.
no,
By
because
the
you
time
got,
we do
Are we
11
not
now.
doing Wickedy Wall then?
we got 11 mile, we're doing Wickedy Wall, I think.
No.
We're not,
No, I haven't heard a word about Wickedy.
okay.
I'm not doing.
So we got
anything.
Millark and potentially 11.
We got
11 mile
we got
Millark
a lot of
first
little things like
There's
they're
a-
in that, like Seymour,
Oh,
getting a
that's right.
crack at it and. 6, 7, 8, all those short roads are getting redone.
Seal coated. And we haven't had a discussion with the people over there, yeah, we said we'd get in a discussion.
I'm not
about-
talking to them until they prove to me that their residents are, they came at me with 2 guys.
Yeah.
Well, we surveyed the residents, they did not.
I would like to see, the rest of the road ends, or the road ends that need to be surveyed or that haven't
Surveyed.
been marked, budget some money for that, we can figure out which ones they are. And parks may be having a similar thing, but that, I think that's important. And I think we need to make sure we've got money budgeted to visit those road ends, and if they need
Maintenance.
trimming or maintenance or whatever, that we just do that annually. That's, I think
We
that's,
have gone away from that, we used to do that
yeah, so.
every year.
Yeah, it should be, if you did like we did before, do 10 and whatever we did, 6 or 8 or whatever.
We did 5 or 6 a year.
Yeah, about 5 or 6.
And we probably need to throw some money in for site improvements, even if they're just minimal, over at the new property, assuming we're
Well,
gonna
you
get that.
need another 80 just to
There's
get
your
that up where it
capital.
belongs.
Right, there's still, well, we gotta throw something in there for that.
The good thing over
We
there is
have-
fairly level, it won't take much to do,
But it might, I don't wanna do that without sitting down and having a long-term vision for the property and a site plan and
Yeah,
that sort
you
of
need
stuff,
to.
so. We should slot some money to start that process, or enough to have a site plan and whatever improvements to move the recycling on. At a minimum.
My first thought would be, it's essential to get some of that topsoil off there, put gravel on it and get that compacted so we can move that stuff over.
Once we have a site plan, though, we need to know what we're.
Initially, just so you don't get.
And we could start, I mean, part of it is, yeah, we'll talk more about it, but if that's the property that we ultimately end up with.
Yeah.
We don't swap with the county or trade or do
Yes,
whatever,
exactly.
then
then it changes.
then it changes, so we need to know that, but once we know, we need to get people involved, and start doing conceptual plans and talking through that, so we just.
I'd still like to look at pickleball courts there, we've had enough interest in that, I talked to school was gonna do some of the property by the
By my house.
softball thing, that piece of land there, that is, you spend more money, I had 2 people look at that, more money to make that usable than,
Where the Lions building is, that property?
no, it's where the woods is between the girls softball field and Erdman Road.
Oh, okay,
If you ever go by there and look, it is full of trees, it's downhill, it's wet,
It's not wet.
it's not wet at the bottom,
It's not wet anymore. No, we just had the DEQ look at it.
okay. But to clear it and level it and to do, it's not, it's just, plus there's about 400-year-old pine trees in there. Huge pine trees, I mean, bigger than what I got on my property.
apparently the community foundation is convening a pickleball summit that somebody from the Parks and Rec or Township Board, I don't know when it is, but there's such a huge interest in pickleball countywide
They'll probably
that they're
do it.
gonna be talking about that, and there may be some grant funding, but I think we ought to
There you go.
figure out when they're doing that, we ought to have somebody there to at least listen. So that, I just.
There you go.
I called Laura today, but not on that.
Mention it, because it was brought up at one.
Do we still have road end post thingies in your,
Yeah, a whole pile of them on my property.
we need to take care of those.
I'm gonna start putting them up on the corner of my property, but it says public access. So
That's all I have, just wanted to make sure we talked about the budget,
Yeah.
the timeline that Shelley put together. And just get the ball started on some of these topics.
Why are there not public access signs at Ninth Street?
Which end?
Public access.
No, which end? Either end, both ends, one end?
I don't know about the Lake Michigan, there is a public access.
There isn't.
And on Lake Michigan, there is not one on
I
Portage,
think there is one at the end of the night.
not on Portage.
Not on Portage.
There is on Lake Michigan.
On Lake Michigan.
Right.
It's not ours, I can't answer.
I
that.
know, we've,
I don't know, because it's not ours.
But you have the post for public access?
Well, not
The other one?
for our public accesses.
That's not, that, what is he saying is that the
It's county.
township does not own that.
Oh, I
land.
know that, I absolutely know that, but who puts up all the other, does the county put up all the other public access?
The township puts them up on the township road ends. I don't know who puts them up. Are there county road ends that have those access
We
points?
hired a county for ourselves.
We hired the county to put ours up, but we've replaced ours with our people, right, when they washed out. and
When they
stuff.
washed out, but we
Right, but
had,
they're all the same post.
Yeah.
But are the county road ends also marked as public access?
Yes,
So that's a county road commission question.
okay.
yeah, that's what I said, it's just not our road and we don't have jurisdiction, I can't answer why it's not marked. That's
Well,
all.
it used to.
I think you are correct, actually, I don't, but again, it's not ours, so I don't know what, you had just go to the road commission and ask
Where it
them.
was.
Ask
I would
Bob.
say yes, it was there. Somebody
Okay,
decided to take it. Knowing where it was, where it is, where it was.
Somebody decided to take it out.
well, that's happened on ours too, so now, yeah, I don't know how many we're missing, right?
Well, we'll know because we're gonna survey them and get them,
Yeah.
or survey and possibly survey.
Most of them are still up, but some of them disappeared. Okay, done? No.
I'm done.
Public comment.
George.
No, I went away from it though, so go ahead, Libby.
Question, when will be the working session of is that February 14th?
That's where we introduce and discuss the proposed draft budget. And then there's a budget public hearing on the 21st and additional township board conversation.
Okay, so what is, I've attended
Like
in
the-
the last 2 years,
that's
What?
that's the public hearing one is the one you attended.
the 21st,
The
because I
21st.
attended two both times. So
With-
it's
yes.
the 21st, not, so what's
The
14th?
21st, and then you also attended the extra one that we had last year, because we didn't finish the first one.
We had one
Okay,
two
so
days
the
ago.
14th, you're just going to give it to
Presented.
the board. The
So-
reason I ask is I'm not gonna be here.
So Shelley's gonna, the board, Shelley is gonna compile the budget.
Yes,
We're gonna have that available for the board to discuss, and then I call it an introduction to the public, because the public's gonna hear it for the first time, kind of what's in there.
will that be in the packet for the 14th? But the meeting of the 14th, isn't that your next?
That's our
Yes.
regular meeting.
Right,
Yes,
and reason I'm asking is I'm
That
not going to
packet,
be,
she means a lot of
Yes.
information in the
and I
packet.
wanna see that information. So what I wanna know is that will be in the packet. And then I
Yes.
could zoom in with any questions. Right? And then I can
Well,
come to the
The
21st.
14th is more for us to discuss it and introduce it. It's not a bit, the time for questions is generally, I mean, Dave does this, right? A lot of times this isn't done. It's at the public hearing is when the public can voice their concerns and questions, but there's gonna be three
When
people
will you discuss about wage increases, for example,
on the 14th.
on the
And
14th?
also, after the public hearing, there may be more discussion, and if the budget still isn't adopted, it could be on the 23rd.
Okay, so the 14th, you will discuss hypothetically wage increases for everybody and a possible new employee.
If it gets, if
we
it
get
gets
to
that far, yeah.
Uh,
We're
the
not to
big,
that
the
point yet.
big discussion will be the public hearing, the 21st.
But the information will be posted on before the 14th.
You're looking at me.
I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes,
I'm not.
Whoever-
looking at it.
I
information will be-
wanna know.
So she's
Where-
wanting to know, so
Yes.
here, we may not, Libby, we may not have an answer about, do we wanna try to hire an employee or that by this year? Just,
But you could
know.
have a placeholder in it or something.
Yes.
We could.
Okay, oh,
Mhm.
Could or you could.
All
Whatever
I'm
we
trying to
have,
do is find out where I get the information.
whatever we have prepared for the budget
Will be available.
will be
for the-
available for that meeting. It will be, yes,
In the pack.
yes.
That I wanted to know. My next comment is, would highly recommend on the website, you put all the documents for why the 5% tax increase is going across the board. I know you did it last year, sort of belated, but I would encourage you to have as much of that information accessible on the website. You had a whole bunch of charts and it was based on sales and
The 5% increase is proposed.
It's a memo from the state. We'll be happy to put it on the
Yeah.
website.
perfect.
Yeah.
So that you guys are off the hook.
Well, no, we're not off the hook because I still got paid for it.
I know,
Oh.
but people think that you are doing this. You are doing a 5% increase. You are not. The state
Right.
is telling
State law.
you to do it.
Correct.
And they are telling you why you have to do
Actually,
it.
actually, that's not true.
The voters told us they did.
You told us to do it.
All right, then that's what you need to, all I'm saying.
No, I'm saying,
You're
that's
right.
true, that's
You're
true.
right. You're
statement.
absolutely right, which
Yeah.
is why I'm saying that information should be available on the website. So people understand that they did this to themselves, if that's what you wanna say.
That sounds kind of final, but yeah, it's true.
But you know, in 12 hours of board review hearings, people last year didn't give a rip about the 5% increase. All they were concerned about was their assessed value went up a lot. And that was gonna cost them all kinds of money. Because-
Before we do that.
Because there is so little comprehension of,
But, well, to your point, we'll put it out there.
I
again.
would just, all I'm saying
No,
is
we were gonna
for having information on the website.
do that anyways. but-
Hey, Dave, I have one more question for you. Sorry, budget related. I just was curious, because you work for the assessor, what does the assessor think the true cash value of the property we're buying is? What is that based on the assessment roll? Do you have any idea?
So that'd be 130,000.
So the property that's
Is-
right next to the fairgrounds has a value according to the assessor of $130,000.
I think it's 65,000 now, or 62, I'm sorry.
Right, the assessed value.
62,000 assessed, so you double that, you double assessed value for true cash, so it'd be I think it's about
So about
124.
$124,000 to $125,000 is the value of the property that the township board is buying for how much?
80. plus.
$80,000.
Again, great information.
Well, I just wanna make sure the
to
public
share.
isn't confused about that, because I think some people are confused that the assessed value that you see on a piece of property is what the value of the property is. It's not, it's
Yeah.
1/2 of what the value of the property is.
What I'm saying is,
Thanks for pointing that
the
out.
website is a great tool to educate and communicate. I'm suggesting that as a township, we do a better job of that.
Your
Using that
message
access.
is loud and clear, Libby.
And it will continue to be.
Right, and it may not always be to your liking, but
It very seldom is. Doesn't shut me up though.
Bill,
Didn't say it should.
Bill,
No, and it won't.
did you have anything? Did you?
No.
No.
No,
Bill's
I
getting
didn't.
paid.
Dave,
Yeah.
I,
Oh, I'm sorry, David, go ahead.
kudos for the new phone system.
Oh, yeah, it
Is there an
works well.
update on the bat phone in the corner that doesn't?
that's going away. If we want, I guess my question is, what is the purpose of a phone in this room? When is that used?
Well, we attempted to use it at the December meeting when we had a member who had COVID and couldn't attend, but just wanted to listen.
Okay.
I use it.
We can use
See,
the
he
owl.
used it.
Well, we weren't authorized.
No, I'm saying, we need to talk about that.
So I guess we should talk through that, because there's 6 methods to do that. They can call somebody's cell phone. and
Well, that's
put it
what
on
we ended up
speakerphone.
doing is I
Right.
called
Okay,
Right.
her.
We can put a phone, we have an extra phone in this room, but we have to run some wires because it's not set up to do that. So you can have one that sits here, plugs in over here somewhere and have that available for a speakerphone, but it's the same thing to be accomplished with this.
Bob says there's a computer thing right there.
Well, it is, but you gotta run a cable. It's really,
The other ones
Not
are
home.
back to you.
or you can run the owl,
there's not a
See where that
computer.
white cord goes in?
which
Yeah, but that's not a computer table.
I'm
Would you do the owl?
That's a phone.
Would we do the owl?
Yeah.
The computers over.
Right.
Slowly with training.
Okay.
So
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
talk about that, Ed?
Look foolish.
Right now?
Why not? I do.
I
Didn't work
mean,
for me.
there's a bunch of different ways to do this, and we just need to decide how we're
I
gonna do
mean,
it.
to let them use this.
I think that's a great idea. I think the planning commission should be using that.
See, I do too.
All committees should be using, they should be using that.
I agree with all that, instead of.
All right,
looking for
just give us some training.
Are
That's
you
right.
guys okay with that?
Training and work instructions.
Schedule a training session, everybody needs to come to a training.
Yeah, including me, because obviously.
Well, David and I used our instructions and we still messed it up, so.
We've had it, it was working.
It said record and it was
And actually, it
recording,
had to be
but
working because Libby was on there. I should have asked her, but she was on the meeting. And somebody else Ann was on there,
it said
there was a couple
recording,
people,
but I missed
and it said
spelling.
record. And
You know, correspondence?
I'm done. Are you done with that? You guys are okay with that? We'll move forward with the owl.
We can keep the owl in the storage room or something, so everybody
Can
can.
hang it from the.
We need to
ceiling.
have it in the computer that we're gonna use, and that computer needs to be on every once in a while.
Yeah,
to get
dedicated.
updates, and there's,
Okay,
Okay,
and then how do you get to the Zoom? There's some things we gotta work out. It'll be evolutionary, but I think we can make that happen.
okay.
okay, motion by Shelley.
To pay the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
She made it. You seconding? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's carried. Anything else? ADJ.
You wanna talk